Hello friends, welcome. So today I'm going to be sharing with you the 7 pocket folio, and we're going to be working with some 12 by 12 papers. Here I have in front of me some papers that I chose from the 12 by 12 pack, and I'm going to be showing you a couple of the packs that I worked with, and you're going to be seeing some of the folios I made with these specific papers. So again, if you don't have a 12 by 12, you can also use an 8.5 by 11 inch paper sheet and then just cut out or use whatever scraps you have for the remaining ephemera that we're going to be putting into here. You might see that. I'm also going to have a step-by-step sheet coming here shortly. So if you want to screenshot that, go ahead, or you can slow down the video, look at the steps and whatnot. Okay, so that was the papers. And here are some tools we're going to be using. So I'm going to be using this cutting board and scoring board. It's a combination cutting and scoring together. So I'm going to be using that. Just use what you have. If you have a smaller one like this is a smaller scoring board. You can also use that. Use your scissors, your ruler, whatever you have, right? And then here I just have a couple of things, my bone folder, a couple of little labels that I cut out with my die cuts, and this I did with punching, what do you call those, little punches. And then I have some stickers and some stencils that I want to use later on, and I'll show you how I kind of decorate with that. And then this is the Tim Holtz Distress ink that I'll be using as well. This is the paper punch that I was showing you before. And yeah, just pull out whatever paper punches you have to decorate or whatever you normally like to use. This is just an idea of what I'm going to be using here in this video. You don't specifically have to have all the things that I have here. Also, I'm going to be using this circle punch here for the whole the pockets. So just like that, it's just to so you can see the pocket better when on the inside. And then I also ink those edges. So here's just a couple of the folios that I already made previously, and you can kind of mix and match the papers and whatnot, and that's kind of what I did. Some of them I stitched around the paper, the corners, and stitch the pockets together. You can also do that. Yeah, there's just so many different things you can do here. I'm just showing you briefly what we're going to be making here. So the end result will look something like this. And you're going to have a notepad, a journal card, a belly band, and the folio, all from a 12 by 12 paper pack, okay? And again, if you're going to use just the 8.5 by 11, then the folio, the notepad, the journal card, and the belly band and extra little pockets there may have to be cut. You may have to get that with your scraps, So yeah, I'm just showing you here. I kind of sewed that one on the top there. You can also use glue or staples if, yeah. So here is the instructions. They're kind of going through here fast, but you can slow it down if you need to. And I kind of cut it down to 15, instructions there, but yeah. So the top, I was pointing at the top right there. That's gonna be your front cover of your folio. Depending on how you move the papers around or how you cut it, will determine which part is gonna be your front cover. So the first thing we're doing here is we're gonna be cutting 3.5 inches off the bottom here. So I'm just measuring, and this later on is going to be our notepad and our journaling card. So we're going to save these scraps that we're cutting off, and we're going to put them on the side. So again, this is 3.5 inches off the bottom of your sheet. Okay, and then you can kind of pick what kind of papers you want. I kind of chose a non-directional paper, something that looks good either way, right? So the pattern is going pretty much everywhere. It's not, in one direction. So you need to be mindful of that too if it does bother you when you flip it over, and you'll see in a minute. So here I'm just cutting off 1 inch now off the side of it. So it's going to be off the opposite side of your front cover that you chose. So like whatever pattern you want in that front, we're taking the 1 inch, and that's going to be your belly band. Okay, so I'm just showing you there, it's 1 inch off of the side. And now we have an 8.5 by 11-inch paper. So from here, we're going to do some scoring, and this is going to be the main folio. And I'm just double checking on my ruler that I have 8.5 by 11-inch paper here. So I want to make sure that, all the sides, we're starting off on a good start here. Okay, so you can see there I have 11 and by 8.5. Okay, so now we're going to take the sheet, and it's going to be pattern faced up towards you. And our first score is going to be 3 inches. And then our second score is going to be 7 inches. So you're going to see me do that now. So again, 3 inches is our first score. And then from here, we're going to do 7 inches. So I'm just doing that a couple times. You can also flip it over and do it on the other side. They say that helps with the crackling of your paper, but I'm just doing it on this one side a couple times over. I didn't have any issues with my paper cracking, but if you might have some issues like that, then yeah, you can do that. Okay, so you can see those scores right there. And now we're gonna turn the paper over, and I'm gonna see that bottom piece right there. We're gonna score 3.5, 3 inches from the bottom. So now I'm just going along there and scoring the 3 inches at the bottom here, like so. And now when you pick it up, you're gonna see these 2 rectangles and a square. So you should have 2 rectangles and a square. And this square here, we're gonna cut out completely. That's gonna become a pocket. So you can go ahead and fold that over, increase it if you like. That'll help you see the lines better when you're cutting that square out. And then, so yeah, I'm just folding all of them just so that you can see everything here when I go ahead and cut that out. And this is how the folio is going to kind of fold upwards like this. And those are the other 2 pockets there. So you're going to see here now I'm going to cut this square out. And we're not going to cut out those 2 rectangles because that is where we're going to put our pockets. Those are going to become pockets. And this little square here that we're cutting out is going to be in front of the other pocket there. You're going to see that in a moment here. So we're going to save these scraps. Okay, you're going to put that aside and save it with the other scraps that we have there. And so we have the long sheet there, we have the belly band, and then that one piece of scrap there. So here we are. So it should look like this. You can go ahead and fold that in as well. We're going to cut this right up to that score line. So cut right up to that score line. Do not cut past that score line. Then you're going to have like this little piece there in between that will help when you fold it in, like, the bulk in the middle. If you need to cut it a little more, you can. That's fine. And then, so we're going to put that one in and then have that over. So I'm just measuring it to check if everything is even and lining up. And you can go ahead and just use your bone folder if you have to even that out if it's not even. Yeah, and also if it doesn't even out too, you can just cut the edges or whatever you need to do it so it doesn't, because sometimes the paper, once it's folded, especially this paper, it's a little more thicker, so it kind of wants to, do its own thing and like bulge out a little more. Yeah, so here I'm making the triangle at the top. This is we're gonna cut this piece off, and it's gonna become another pocket at the bottom. So you can open this back up again and see where I did that. You can use your bone folder and get a nice good crease there, then open it up and cut that piece off. That's gonna make an additional pocket in the front there. So you can see how that lines up. Also, I was just showing there, I wanted to cut off another little piece because I want that kind of to go over the under the front pocket. I don't want it to be sticking out. It really is just a preference. Some of them I made, it did stick out. Some of them, it didn't. So I wanted that completely to go flush underneath the other pocket in front. So that's the way it's going to look there. Those two pockets, and then this pocket here in the front. So that's pretty much it. And then we have our belly band, and that's everything. So now we're just going to go ahead and take this and glue everything in. We're going to glue the front. So I have my glue here. I forgot to mention this in the beginning. I always forget my glue. Of course we need glue. You can also use double-sided tape if you need to, but I just want to make sure that it's very, very thin lines of glue because I want the other items that we're going to be putting in there to fit nicely into the pocket. So you want to make sure you apply a very thin layer of glue to the edges here. You don't want a lot of glue or too thick of glue here when you're gluing these pockets in. So you can see here I'm putting like a very, very thin layer of glue, and you can barely see that. You see right there, and that is it. That is all that is needed. You don't need any more glue than that. Yeah, so a very, very small thin layer of glue, because if you add too much glue, the items may not be able to fit in the pocket. So I just want to note that now in case you have that situation happen to you where you added too much glue and the items are not fitting in the pockets correctly. So I didn't glue that back pocket. I want to leave that open so we can fit more things in there. But the two front ones I glued upwards. So now I'm just going to go ahead and ink the edges. You could do this before gluing the pockets, which I kind of forgot to do. I don't think it looks too bad or makes such a big difference in this case. I can still just do this again. You see I'm going over it a little bit. And yeah, you can just add as much or as little as you want, just to make it pop a little bit more, those lines where the pockets are. So I'm using these scraps from my other folio that I'm also making at the same time as making this one. So that print was the polka dots, and yeah, I like that the way it looks when you coordinate different papers, so that way it's not like all just meshing all together, and you can actually see the difference between the pockets and such. But yeah, I think this came out really cute. And also, Jillian wanted me to note that this is an intermediate project. I forgot to state that. Honestly, I mean, if I can do it, I feel like anyone can do it. I think it's pretty simple as long as you just follow step by step. I mean, also you can trial and error. Just go ahead and try this on your own. But before if you're hesitant or if you're a beginner at these type of things, then you may want to use a paper that's not, that you don't really care about using or messing up, to try it out first. And then once do your little trial, then you can actually use your nice paper that you want to use for the project. I mean, I normally like to try things out beforehand. Even when I'm sewing like a garment or anything, like I don't use my like expensive fabric. I use something, cheaper, or that I don't really care about, messing up when I'm sewing the fabric. So here again, I'm doing very thin layers of glue. As you can see here, just that way we can fit more things into these pockets. And if you have like those really thin double-sided tapes, I have some but I couldn't find it, you can also use that. But I think for this, the wet glue was fine. It didn't warp my paper because this paper is pretty thick as well. It depends on the thickness of your paper. For this project, I would use a thicker paper. I wouldn't use like a thin sheet of paper, yeah. So more like a thick cardstock is good. And so I'm just inking these edges for the belly band. And if you're gonna use just the one paper and you're not making like multiple like I did, then you can just wrap it around from the inside and around to the front. So I wanted to cut mine because I didn't want the polka dot on polka dot. I wanted it more to like clash and not like be so matchy on top of each other. So you're gonna see here, I'm just gonna cut that, trim the bottom. But if you're not going to do that, you can just skip this step. I didn't add this part in the steps as well because this is just optional, if you, it just depends, yeah, your preference. So you see how like that's really matchy on top of each other, and I just didn't want that. So I'm cutting the strips and I'm going to be switching them out, and you'll see that later on what I did with that. So yeah, I think the polka dot looks better on here. And then of course with the ink edges, it makes it pop a little bit more. And so again, a thin layer of glue here on the top and at the bottom. And I hope if you're following along with me, that this is making sense and you're having fun. Because honestly, once I got this down, as you can see, I made a ton of them. So yeah, I know I say that like in almost all my videos, but it's true. I just make so many of these. It's so much fun. And yeah, so you see here, I just added that other strip on the inside, so it's kind of like coordinating, but not the same pattern on top of each other. And then I wanted to put the inside first because I wanted to center it from that middle pocket, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and line that up with the outside so I can see where that needs to go here. And yeah, and that's it. That's the belly band. And I think that's the full construction of the folio. And now we're gonna go ahead and work on the other pieces, so the other little things that we're gonna put inside the folio. Again, here I'm just inking the edges to make them pop a little bit. This is a preference, of course you don't have to do this, just whatever you like. So Jillian actually stated that she wants us to use like not bright colors. She wanted us to use like a darker colors, and honestly I don't have anything dark really. This is the darkest I have. So that was funny when she said that. I was like, oh no, I only like really have bright colors. Like I just love the bright colors. So yeah, I always use like really pinks and all those kind of girly bright colors. But yeah, so anywho, I'm just showing you here. So we're gonna take those long strips, and we're gonna go ahead and score the first one at 5 inches. So you can see here we're taking that strip and we're gonna score it at 5 inches, or you could just cut it at 5 inches. Actually, I'm scoring it here just because I don't know, this cutter just gives me issues sometimes. And actually, I don't even know why I scored it here. I mean, you can score it. I think I just wanted to line it up and to see exactly, to make sure that I cut exactly on 5 inches. So yes, that's why I did that. But you can just go ahead and cut it at 5. You don't have to score it. I just cut it at 5 because I wanted to be able to see that nice and clean cut. So then the next piece here we have is a bit longer. I believe it's 7 inches long here that we're left with. So if you have 7 inches, perfect. You're on the right track and your measurements should be good. So now we're gonna score 5 inches from the top or the bottom, whichever you want to call it, right? 5 inches there. And that is going to be the flap to the notepad. So we're going to go ahead and flap that over. So depending on how thick you want your notepad flap, you can, or how long you want it, you can actually change that up if you like. But yeah, so some of them I did a little shorter, some longer. It just really depends on your preference, but that's what I had left over. Also, you can decorate that flap however you like. If you want to do like a hole punch, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that, what is that, the corner punch, and round those edges. But really you can do whatever you like. So again, I'm just measuring that to make sure it's 3.5 inches that we cut at the beginning. So that's your journaling card. So it's gonna be a 3.5 by 5.5 or 5 inches. And yeah, so if you have that, then you're on track, and yeah, it's good. But if you don't, no biggie. I mean, if it's smaller, I mean, shorter or longer, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. So I just rounded those edges for the journal card, and then I'm just inking the edges afterwards to just make it pop. And you can decorate these journal cards however you want. Specifically in this video, I'm not going to be decorating them. I'm going to be doing very minimal, very minimal decorating here. So there you go. I'm just cutting, rounding the edges again, and then inking those edges. And I do the same thing with the pads. And so those pads, I actually already cut the papers, and you can choose whatever papers you want. I specifically had this paper that it's like a vintage lined paper that I found at the thrift store. And so I just cut that down to size. And yeah, and I'm just going to be putting that in there. And it's pretty much the same size as the pad. So yeah, 5 by 3.5. You can make it a little smaller if you like, or however you want to do that. But this is just the papers I'm just showing here that I got at the thrift store, and I just cut it down. Say a regular sheets of paper there, line paper. And yeah, you can honestly use whatever kind of paper you want in here. But as far as the swap goes, Jillian is going to be putting all that information on what specifically will be swapped in the Facebook group. And so I went and sewed the top. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can also use glue or staple gun. Yeah, I just sewed it because I prefer to sew it and it was just easier for me. And so, yeah, my staple wouldn't reach. And the glue, I don't know. I prefer the sewing. And so again, like I said, I'm just gonna ink the edges here again where I cut them. And you can use a paper punch, any design that you have to decorate that as well if you like. Yeah, and then you can also decorate it in the front. And so Jillian recommended this tutorial from Camilla Crafts. And yeah, so she wanted to do that for the Facebook swap. So that's how we came up with this. And she was very inspiring, and I enjoyed watching her video as well. And I'll link all her information below as well, so you can go and check out that video. She gives a lot of good tips and tricks as well. And so I'm just showing you here how everything goes nicely into the folio. And this is your journal card. And yeah, she embellishes hers in her video quite a bit. So if you want to watch that, definitely go check her out. It's Camilla Crafts. And I'm going to do some minor embellishing here. Like, not a lot of embellishing going on. I kind of wanted to focus more on the make of this. And yeah, I didn't want this video to be extra long. So you can embellish however you like. You can mix and match your papers like I did here. You can use some ink. You can sew the pockets in. I mean, this is all just some ideas. Also, whatever little ephemera or items you have that you want to add additionally into these pockets, you can go ahead and do that as well. So there's 7 pockets or little tuck spots here, you can say. And actually, you can make 8 out of this, right? So if we cut that square into 2, it would have been 2 triangles. That would have made the eighth pocket. So yeah, this could actually be a 8 pocket folio. But I'm just messing around with the stickers there, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to put in here. And so I cut these out with a die cutting machine. And if you're interested in these little labels, little doilies, they're so cute and so versatile. I'm going to have it in the description box below. Yeah, so if you want to check those out, also just check out my description box. Everything will be listed below on the items that I've used here in this video, or whatever I can find for that. So I just went and inked some of those edges to make it pop a little more, and then I'm using this glue. But then I quickly realized that the glue kind of didn't take well to that paper, and it kind of, I don't know, it was, maybe I just added maybe too much glue, if maybe I put a little less. But I end up getting some double-sided tape for this specifically. You can see kind of it warping there. And so yeah, instead I just used some double-sided tape, because just less messy as well. I didn't want the glue to seep through and then the belly band get stuck to the paper. So that's why I kind of added that paper to the back there to make sure that it wasn't getting stuck to the paper there, as you can see. And then with those little labels, I'm gonna leave them blank for now, but my thoughts on that was like to stamp it. I mean, you can really like embellish it with maybe another sticker or a stamp, a sentiment. So many ideas that you can do with this, and I really want to leave it blank because I'm thinking about putting some of these in my Etsy shop. And so yeah, if you like these, and they may be available in my Etsy shop. I'm still working on a lot of things to put in there, and I just haven't had the time to update it. But I will be getting to that very soon. If not this weekend, then definitely next weekend. I'm just working on so many different projects and orders. Because I also make doll clothing and doll bedding as well. So that's a whole nother thing that I'm also taking care of. And so yeah, anywho, that's just a whole rant. But yeah, so I used a double-sided tape here and it just was a lot easier. But that was my thought behind this little label. I feel like you can like stamp a sentiment on there, and I think that'll be nice to leave blank for the recipient. And that's pretty much why I'm not doing too much embellishing here, because I want to leave that part for the recipient or whoever receives this, whether it be a swap or whatnot. And so I'm using, if you use double-sided paper, then great. Then you don't have to worry about this step or decorating the inside. I mean, you really won't see it once all the things are in the pockets and it's fully embellished. But I just wanted to show you another idea in case you're using one-sided paper and yeah, it's blank on the other side. You can go ahead and use some stencils or stamps if you have, to decorate the inside and yeah, fill in that blank space there. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just using some stencils that I had here, easily available to me. And yeah, I think that gives it a nice effect, and it fills in that blank space. Again, I mean, it's just an additional little thing you can do to add to it, but it's not necessary because it's mainly going to be covered once everything is filled in there. And so, I mean, just inking the edges, if it's like a blank white piece of paper, that also makes a big difference too, and it makes it look pretty nice. So you see here that I'm just sliding these items in, and again, if you put like a thick layer of glue on those corners, it would have been hard to get those items in. As you can see, it's pretty tight in there, also depending on how many papers you put in that pack. And so I'm looking at this sticker sheet again, and I'm thinking if I want to use that little keyhole. I think that keyhole is so cute. And I'm just playing around with the placement of it and just seeing. I think that goes perfect on like the little belly band there. I think it's really, really cute. But I kind of want to put it in the front. I think that'll be cute to like, act like you're opening a lock, right? Opening the door to this folio. So yeah, just a bunch of different little ideas, playing around with what I have. Like I said, I mean, just grab whatever you have near you. As you can see here, I didn't corner the edges on this pamphlet because I like the sharp edges here. But I'm just showing you the stenciling that I did here. I kind of did those little circle stencils. And yeah, I left those edges as is. And then I did some stenciling to the front and the back here to just make it like all cohesive and kind of go together nicely. And on this specific one, I did a belly band in the back and not in the front. So you can just play around with it and honestly do whatever you like with these things. I think there's so much fun to make them. They're super simple. And yeah, if you have a bunch of 12 by 12 paper packs, then you can make a bunch of these and like coordinate them with all the different papers there. And so now I'm just showing you what I had planned to do with these punch outs that I had. And I think that looks really nice over the belly band there, or even to make it its own belly band. So I was thinking of putting it there. And then I realized, oh, I had one already in the back. Okay. So I have a belly band in the front and in the back on this one. And then, yeah, I just am showing the detailing that I did here with the sewing. And you can see that notepad, the top there is a lot smaller than the other ones. So like I said, you could play around with the sizings on these. Nothing is set in stone, right? It's all fun, and you can just play around with all the different elements and sizing here. And this is the journal card, and I left it blank. You can also embellish that if you like. And so I'm thinking if I should put this on this belly band here, and I think I do. Okay, so I end up adding this little mini doily label, whatever you want to call it, to the front here of this belly band. I think it looks really nice. And again, I'm just using my double-sided tape there for this specifically. And yeah, you can go ahead and stamp that with a sentiment. You could put a sticker, you could put a little mini picture there. I mean, like, honestly, anything. If you're giving it to someone as a card or a gift or whatever, you can maybe put their photo or a photo of you two together. I don't know, just some ideas. And yeah, so this is just another one I'm showing you here that I did. And again, I just coordinated the paper packs and mixed them up together. So I think I'm going to add this as a belly band to the back here. I think it looks really nice, but I think I want to line it up with that one in the front. So I'm just trying to figure out where that one is and then lining it up with that one in the front to go to the back there. And yeah, so I end up just gluing that straight to the back of that folio. And so now I'm just adding extra things. Again, this is all extra. I did not add this to the steps. The embellishing part, of course, you could embellish it as much as you like or as little as you like. Sometimes I like to keep things like really simple, especially if I'm going to be sending it off to someone and I want them to like embellish it themselves or like, you know, have more freedom to do what they want with it in their own style. And so, yeah, that's why like normally I try not to embellish too much unless it's for myself. Then of course I'm going to go off and embellish, you know, however I like it. But for the most part, yeah, I think simple sometimes is better in this case. And I like that. And so I'm playing around with these stickers again. I'm like, I really think these go cute with this. And yeah, I decided to finally put that keyhole somewhere. And I think that looks really cute on the cover here. Then once you add like, you know, extra things or put something into that belly band, I think it'll make it look really nice. So I really like that. So also, since I'm here, have some time, I guess I'll mention about the giveaway that I've been saying that I'm gonna do. And I'm not gonna wait till like I receive X amount of, you know, subscribers. Like a lot of people do that. This specific giveaway, what I plan to do is probably gonna be a month long. So I'm gonna start it in April. And I wanna say from April to May. So we're in March now. And then, yeah, so we're ending off March here. And I think I want to start this in April. So starting the projects that I start in April, pretty much everything that I'll be doing from there will be part of the giveaway. So like any projects I made or even projects now like that you see, whatever that is, that'll be all part of the giveaway. And the recipient at the end, whoever I draw at the end, that person will win like everything pretty much that I've made in those videos and so forth. So that was kind of my idea. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that. I'll have more information in the description box, and moving forward. I'll be talking more about this later on in some other videos. So I'm just showing you like all the different folios that I've made here, and as you can see, I mixed and matched, and I showed you in the beginning of the video like the paper packs that I use, so you can see that it's very familiar. And yeah, you, like I said, you can add whatever you want inside here. If you're giving this as a gift, you can fill these things up to the max. I think it'll look really nice with a bunch of different embellishments on here and little things inside. Sweet little gifts. Again, those little doilies in the front, or labels, whatever you want to call them. You can go ahead and add sentiments, pictures, whatever you like to those. And I'm just showing you another way that you can just enclose these. So if you like to add some ribbon to it, I think it looks really cute with this ribbon on the outside of it. And yeah, just do whatever your heart desires. I mean, you can see I'm just playing around with this specific ribbon. I thought it matched well with the flowers here. And yeah, if you made it here to the end, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this and had fun with it. I'll see you later. Bye.